Hey, Coach. First, everybody, good to go for the road trip to Starkville. And then, second, what's it going to be like going against somebody from your coaching tree, somebody that knows the insides and outs of the program?
Everybody's good. Everybody's healthy. Everybody practiced. Um, so we're good on that front. Going against Nikki, I think it's gonna be pretty cool. It's a cool dynamic to be able to um, go up against someone that you know that was in the trenches with us. We know what she's made of. We know she's very disciplined. We know that she's had about 10 days to prep for this moment. Um, and just looking forward to it. I love Nikki like a sister. So I want her to do well in every game besides the one that we match up against each other.
Greg, and then we'll go to David.
Yeah, Don, going off of that, how much have you seen from what Nikki has done at Old Dominion and Mississippi State that kind of reminds you of your own style as a coach, schematically or just even personality-wise?
Well, I mean, Nikki wants to play fast, like we want to play fast. She has a really knack for the defensive side of the ball, and she wants her teams to play hard and gritty. So, I think she built. She got Old Dominion back in a place where it was respectable on both sides of the ball. She's very disciplined, and I see that. I see that in Mississippi State. I do see glimpses of, of just when you're used to not having a certain caliber of player. Like she's got high level players, and sometimes when you have those high level players, you have to kind of go against some of the things that you like to do most of the time and give them space to be creative. And she's done that with some isolation plays for Carter and for Jackson. And she's got a point guard that's able to run the show and make sure they are doing the things that keep that keeps Mississippi State disciplined. So I see all of that. I mean, now it's just Nikki getting experience, having to go in and play against, some established programs in our league. It's hard for, I've been in this league for 13 years. It's hard for us every day to go in and play an SEC opponent. So it's equally as hard for a first year head coach to come in this league and at this level to make your mark, because there's no, there are no gimme nights. So she's learning to coach on this level every day, and it does take some transition to do that.
David, and then we'll go to Howard.
Hey, Dawn, thanks for doing this. You mentioned last week how Aaliyah is constantly trying to get herself better and always watching film, working on her game. And you mentioned that sometimes that maybe she beats herself up a little too much. Have you ever had to kind of walk her back and say, hey, it's okay, and maybe you don't want to be that critical of yourself?
I mean, I do try to walk her back, and just put her at ease. If you really don't see me fretting, her play, even on her worst days, if you don't see me doing that, then there's no need for you to do that. When I'm concerned is when you should be concerned. But it's good to just talk things through and just give her confidence. It is, this league is hard. This game is hard. And if you aren't mentally prepared to play it through the good and the bad, it will take its toll on you. So, I mean, she's mentally tough. She's strong. She's critical of herself. But she also knows that it only takes, one good game to kind of get her back on track.
Howard, and then Matt.
Thanks, Diana. Thanks, Dawn, for doing this as always. Just in terms of the last few years and the way this game and this rivalry has come to define the top of the SEC, wondering in what ways there's overlap, similarities that you see, between Vic's tenure and what you're seeing with Nikki's tenure, and also just how big this looms in the mind of you and your players relative to other games on the schedule, because it has been so defining for the last few years for both of you guys.
Yeah, we can't take anything for granted. The rivalry is there. It doesn't matter, where we are in the rankings. We always seem to find a way to get ourselves in the barn burner. Some of those players, a lot of those players have been at the very top of our league. And a lot of them have been pretty much second place to us. So I know coming into the game, they're going to want to win, regardless of what Nikki and I have, or what Nikki's being a part of our family. They're going to want to win just as badly as we want to win. But I just think it's an incredible, when you reflect on what we both have been able to do with our programs, is quite incredible. I mean, we were the bottom of the barrel when we took over these programs, and to get us to a place where we sustain success, over 5, 6, 7 years. Let's, everybody know that you put the hard work in, you stay disciplined to your, to what you believe, you too can be one of the top programs in the country and have some, and sustain, because that's really hard. The climbing the mountain, is probably the easiest in the process. It is sustaining is the hardest. And we've been able to do that. And a lot has to do with who we schedule. A lot has to do with our conference, because we're being challenged every single day to be better coaches and to outfox our opponents and whoever is on the sideline. To do that, I think we've given our league an opportunity to see, the work that we put in, and to duplicate it is doable and it's real.
Dawn, you spoke of the pressure that of a coach coming into the SEC, but how much pressure is it also to come and coach a team that has had so much success over the past few years, and they have a fan base as well that is very passionate? How much pressure is that for a first-year head coach at a new program?
It's hard. It's hard. I mean, Nikki and I talked before she took the job, and I mean, she knew the cupboards weren't bare. I mean, she was coming in. She knew that, they had sustained success. She knew the pressures of coming in and having to win, because that's the expectation that, that Vic has set. But that's also something that Nikki, it doesn't shy away from. I mean, she's used to being under pressure. We were under pressure for a long time here at South Carolina. So she knows what that looks like. She knows what the game's supposed to look like, and she's going to continue to coach her team up and let the chips fall where they may. I think I've seen some of the social media posts about Nikki and their program, and I think it's fair and it's unfair. It's fair in that that's what they come to expect, which I get that. But you also need time, because they did lose a key piece in Chloe Bibby. She's a key piece to their success. And everybody else really, that besides Taylor, Carter, and Jackson, everybody else really played a less significant role for their team in previous years. So, Nikki has got to be given the opportunity to allow her young ones to grow, the ones that have to play an integral role in their success. And, sometimes it takes you taking some hits over the head in order for you to just pretty much learn how these players are in those situations under new leadership.
Keith, and then Greg.
All right, I'm going to double up on you again. Last year, I know it's a new year, different system. First time you guys played, they had a lot of success with the dribble penetration. You made a great adjustment. What's up, champ? In the SEC tournament. Does that any concern with the matchups of them with dribble penetration? And then number two, you had to play your starters a lot of minutes at LSU. How has the bench responded this week in practice and preparations for Thursday night's game?
Yes, the downhill drives are a concern for us. But we had some success with some adjustments we made in the tournament. I don't know if we'll fully go through the same type of adjustment. We're gonna play. I think we're more prepared for it this year in guarding our players. And if we need to make an adjustment, I think we got enough on the bench, meaning enough coaching experience to make adjustments. And then our bench, I mean, they had a much better practice. I think they understand what they mean to our team. They understand that they have to bring it every night. I think sitting them a little bit longer than we like to sit them in the LSU game, it focuses them a little bit more. And I like the adjustment that they've made, particularly LA. We need LA. I mean, she is someone that, for me, I think her upside is incredible. But I also have to recognize too, this is really her first year playing healthy. Did she get in last year and play some minutes? Yes. But she's still knocking the rust off. I mean, she's still very much in her freshman healthy year. And we know, sometimes what that does to a player, it gets you second guessing, it gets you standing around a little bit. We got to get her the ball. We got to find ways to get her the ball where she's in a position to score. She's got to rebound the ball. She's got to push the ball down the floor. She had to be athletic and fast and quick. And that's what we haven't been getting from her lately. But over the last 2 days, I mean, she's looked great.
And it looks like the last question will go to Greg.
Dawn, just you mentioned the passion of Mississippi State fans, and this will probably be the most hostile environment you guys will play in this season, at least to date. Is that something you kind of addressed with the players, just because it's been a weird year? You maybe have gotten a little used to playing in pretty quiet gyms.
No, we didn't address that. It won't be 10,000, that's for sure. So that helps. Our players, they've adjusted to playing in smaller attended arenas. I don't want to bring any of that to their attention to add to what they already know that they have to do in order for us to win basketball games. It comes down to right now being able to be disciplined on both sides of the ball, or more disciplined than the other team. We don't have to play perfect basketball, but we certainly have to be more disciplined on both sides of the ball than our opponents. And that I look forward to our players keeping that in the forefront, so we can continue to look like the team that we want to be each and every time we step on the floor.